Hey there! Are you ready for our book study tonight? I thought I was, but I left my book on the counter. Gotta go get it. Sorry about that. I'm usually much more organized. But I've had a rather busy day trying to organize all my things, get my videos uploaded, and which takes a bit of time. But I'm so glad you're here, and I'm here, and ready to explore our next part of Rise of the False Gods. And I do encourage you, if this is the first time you're seeing it, go to YouTube and type in Rise of the False Gods, Alicia Leslie, and you can see all the videos. And if you subscribe, you won't miss a thing. Whether it's on YouTube or here on Facebook, please do feel free to click the like or subscribe button, and that way you will make sure you never miss one. That's what I think is a great idea. Welcome your comments and your questions, and if I don't see them while we're doing the video tonight, I will see them later, and I will get back to you on anything you need. Just know that I'm happy you're here. And I'm very happy to say that tonight we are going to finish the verses section. And we may go late, but if we do, we do, because I'm kind of ready to move on. Are you ready to move on? I'm ready to move on. But you know, you got to know, no matter how many things I listed in the verses section, there is more and more and more. I was thinking about that, you know, today, and how many other things could have been included, but we need to move on. What you basically need to be able to do is discern the difference for yourself. And I'm sure there are plenty of examples here to help you do that. So, let's see, we left off last night at the end of patriarchal versus matriarchal. Hope you gave that some thought during the past 24 hours, and maybe you continue to give it thought. You know, sometimes seeds take a while to sprout. I used to do a vegetable garden. I loved doing a vegetable garden. It was so wonderful, and I'd take care of it, and I'd even can the foods for my family. Oh, it was so special. One thing I learned is some seeds take longer to sprout and produce than others. And did you ever notice some of the sprouting and the the fruition, the plant producing, some of it happens above the ground, like with tomatoes. Some of it happens below the ground, like carrots and potatoes. So whether it's above the ground or below the ground, when those seeds are planted, they have to be able to sprout, to grow, and to produce. So I know that carrot seeds were really hard. I would plant those carrot seeds, and I'd look, and I wouldn't see anything. And I'd look, and I wouldn't see anything. Then one day, I swear it'd take like 2 weeks, you'd see this little teeny green thing coming up. Oh, and there'd be more, and they'd be in a line. Then they'd get, you know, fluffy tops, and you'd say, oh, the carrots are surely ready. So I'd pull one and find out it was nothing more than a swollen up root at that point. So even though it had this big old fluffy green thing on the top, eventually, if I exercised patience, which we all have to do, I would have my beautiful carrots. So think about that some of the fruit that you are producing in your life is above the ground. It's where it can be seen. And some of the fruit is being cultivated within, where nobody can see it, but those seeds are taking root and you are growing and you are being fruitful. See, God didn't tell us just to be faithful. God said be fruitful. So, what kind of fruit are you producing? It's called your life. Alrighty, let's move on to liberal versus conservative. Liberal means to be open to progress or reform, as in political or religious affairs. A conservative is more traditional, disposed to preserving existing conditions and limiting change. Most people believe they are one or the other. The United States, remember this was written years ago, the United States is experiencing painful division between liberal and conservative camps right now. We need both to work together for the common good. Liberal and conservative, whether we are speaking of religion or politics, they are two essential parts. It's like two wings on a bird. Both wings flap together for the bird to fly. They have to. That's how it can take wing. Other than that, it'd just look, just probably roll over in the wind and never be able to fly. If they don't work together, the bird can't get off the ground. Conservative and liberal working together are like roots and blossoms of a flower. Roots stabilize and the bud reaches to the heavens. Both roots and blossoms are necessary for the development of the flower. That's in your own life too. You need stability and self-discipline, and you need creativity and freedom of expression. We've got it all, folks. All we have to do is use it. If we were all into rigidity, we wouldn't be able to grow. If we were all into freedom of expression without any roots, we would blow away like a tumbleweed. Someday I want to look at more about tumbleweeds because they're pretty fascinating and they're actually quite pretty. There is a grave danger in either taking over. The doctrine of false gods sees all creation from an egocentric perspective, whether that's personal power or financial wealth. If the far left took over, anarchy could result. If the far right took over, freedom would die and hierarchy would claim absolute power and we would lose democracy. And people should not get messed up with the words talk about versus Democrat and Republican and democracy and the republic, because that separates us. Democracy means everybody's working together. It's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about everybody working together in harmony. Ask yourself, do you think that Jesus was a liberal or a conservative? What do you think? Roll that around in your mind a little bit. Unless you said both, you are incorrect. He brought understanding to the spiritual laws, to the religious laws. He brought spiritual understanding. The law has a what component and a why component. Our laws exist. They are expressing into manifestation for the highest good of the whole in a true democracy. Okay? Both sides are considered. Now, I think it's real interesting that over time now, we also have emerging the Progressive Party. Well, the Progressive Party sick and tired of seeing the Republicans and the Democrats have contests over who's going to win and division and they want to just make progress. Then we also have the Libertarian Party, and then we have the Green Party, and then we have the Family Party. There's so many, but I think this is a good thing because more and more people are coming forward to express, to speak out about what would create a beautiful world. And it's like, look at all the creation around us. We have giraffes and kangaroos and chihuahuas and Great Danes and so many. But we were all created to be a part of a greater whole in which we live and move and have our being. Jesus' teaching often repeats this concept. He said, I have not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. And that's the way a conservative might say, whoa, he's going too far. He's getting crazy here. But the liberal part would say, no, now I understand. Now I understand why that law exists. Remember, we kind of dove into that in depth with the Sabbath. And Jesus saying, man was not made for the Sabbath was made for man. That it is a gift to us. And again, you can't have spirituality imposed. Nobody can say, okay, it's Saturday, it's Sunday, whatever, it's the Sabbath. You need to stop doing everything and just sit and worship, pray. That we can't have it imposed. It has to come from within us. We have to want to know that it's here to bless us. Just experiment with it. Imagine a world where one day a week everybody had for absolute nothing that they had to. No had tos. What if we actually disciplined ourselves to stop, to turn off all the input, to rest in spirit, and to listen for God? I think it would be a very different world. Jesus fulfilled the law by his teaching and living the teaching. He didn't say, I didn't say, do as I do. I said, do as I say. No. He said, what I do, you can do too. But we cannot reach those heights of growth and maturity if we're sitting in a spiritual kindergarten, fighting each other for the shovel. One got a shovel, one got a bucket. Work together to fill that bucket and build that castle, right? That's what we're waiting for. We're waiting to work together to create this together. The law, as taught by Jesus, may seem like a chameleon, changing by circumstance. Yet behind each circumstance is the ultimate outcome, which must be the good of the individual and the whole. Universal health and wholeness is the law. You know, my friends, we need to learn to forgive. We need to learn to cooperate. We need to identify the good of the whole and work for it. When I was 10, I lived on Liberty Street in 154 Liberty Street in Middletown, Connecticut. Every once in a while I drive by that house, and I sure would like to sneak in and see what it looks like today, but I know I can't do that. But when I lived there, we had a neighbor. Her name was Mrs. Millardo. Mrs. Millardo did not like it if we went out in the yard and got too loud and crazy with our playing. She would go, "No, no, 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 stop, make nice, don't fight, no fight, be good." And isn't that a great message for all of us? Don't fight, be good. And that's what we're working on. What a wonderful time to be working on it for us that are in this series right now as the holidays are approaching. You may consider yourself to be either liberal or conservative. As for my political leaning, I probably consider myself a conservative liberal because I do have strong roots in having self-discipline while also inspiring the rights and creativity of all people. But as we have to learn to work with a government, we want it to be a government that works for all, for the highest good of all. And in all of it, we have to remember that morality, integrity, wholeness, these things cannot be legislated. They have to be expressed, not imposed. You know, and if you want to really, really understand these things, the election's over. Well, we pray it's over. Soon we'll be on to our new path, Lord willing, and we all stay together and we've learned what we needed to learn so that we can move forward. But don't you think for 1 second when it's over, because in creating a world that works for all, it never ends. It means disciplining yourself to good ways of living and being and working in harmony with others. It means teaching that to your children and their children. It means stressing the importance, participating. If you're a Democrat, a Republican, a member of the Family Party, the Green Party, the who knows what party, become active. Become an active part. And I would suggest we discover, we work on, we develop. Now, you know what? I am not politically astute enough, I must confess, to say that I don't know if there are multi-partisan meetups or something. Are there? If you know of one, let me know. Because that's what I'm going to be doing as soon as we can meet again. Probably have to meet online. Be a part of it. That our government is said to be a government of, by, and for the people. And I praise the people that are standing in the truth, knowing, as people that pay attention do, as people that are not blinded by the what do they call it? The personality cult, to know that that was a good election, it's done, get over it, and work together. Be nice, kids. Don't fight. Just as Mrs. Millardo would say. Okay, we are on our last little piece, so whereas I thought we may go over, I think we may get done a little early tonight. That'd be different. So we want to talk about material wealth versus riches. Wealth finds its value in dollars and possessions. Riches are immeasurable. So your wealth can be measured, but your riches can't. And all you need to live with abundant riches is to have a prosperity consciousness, have a rich consciousness, have an alignment, even if you're practicing the integrity of not spending beyond what you can. You know, real prosperity is learning to be happy and content with what you have. It doesn't mean you can't strive for more, but it means that when we have gratitude and appreciation for what we do have already, we will be blessed with more. The Bible tells us, seek ye first the kingdom, and all else will be added to it. Ah, wait a minute, there's another word. Seek ye first the kingdom and its righteousness, and all else would be added. You know what righteousness is? It's living in principle. Do you want an example of what's not living in principle? Have you ever heard of a thing called Dine and Dash or Gas and Dash? I know people who have done that. Did not approve, would not approve today, would not approve ever. Dine and Dash is when you go to a restaurant, especially if it's busy, you have your dinner, and before the bill comes, you dash. Gas and Dash used to be when you would, I guess you can't do that anymore, because you would fill up your tank, and like if you were going to pay cash inside, fill up your tank and then dash. But I think they've made that hard to do now. I don't know, because I always use my card. Okay, wealth is financial. Riches is spiritual. We can run out of wealth, but we can never run out of riches. Riches includes a knowledge of God as our source, of the importance of integrity, generosity, faith, love, and joy. Wealth tries to store up money and things. Riches circulate. Emily Cady, who is one of Unity's most well-known teachers, well, she wasn't even Unity in the beginning. We kind of made a deal with Unity. We kind of worked into, as a matter of fact, she was the Fillmores who co-founded Unity were students of hers, but this isn't a Unity history class. So she said, anyway, that if there is not an inlet and an outlet, then the pond becomes stagnant. So we have to have an inlet and an outlet in order to prosper in consciousness and financially. One of our Unity affirmations I really love said, I am rich, rich, rich. I have plenty, plenty, plenty. Plenty to spend, plenty to share, plenty to save, plenty to spare. I am rich, rich, rich. I have plenty, plenty, plenty. But you gotta follow each point. Spend, share, save, spare, and you'll always have enough. So Cheryl's telling a story about going out to eat, and I don't know if I can't back up. Okay, hang on, I'm gonna see if I can go back up in the oh, here we go. Okay, Cheryl said, you know, I never heard of that until I mistakenly left without paying, as I was talking to the owner of the cafe, and we both forgot to pay. She texted me to say, you dined and dashed, and I texted back, what is that? Isn't that wonderful? So pure of heart, she didn't even know. I remember one day my sister and I were shopping at a place called J.M. Fields on the, what was that? The Berlin Turnpike, I think. It was a big, cheap store. We tended to go to the, you know, it was prior to Target and Walmart, and so we were there, and she was looking at things, and she found a bra, and she looked at it. Maybe she was going to try it on. Maybe she was going to buy it. I don't know. She put it over her arm while she was shopping. We walked out of the store. She's got the bra hanging. That was before those little beepers on the stuff, you know. She walked out of the store, and it's like, oh my God. She had two choices. One was to keep walking. The other was to go back in and pay for the bra. The best thing is to always go back in and pay. That way we are assured of prosperity. You know, Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, said, always pay full price. Now, he didn't mean that you couldn't find a bargain, but don't just buy because you're finding a bargain. Don't try to weasel people down on the prices if it's at a tag sale or something. I mean, I have gone and said, is that the best you can do? And it made me feel cheap. I found it's much better to pay, and to pay the right amount, and God's going to bless you with something else. It happens every time. That is what it means to have a rich consciousness. Through the law of circulation, riches increase and bless the one who gives. Stored up wealth is subject to loss, thieves, or deterioration. Riches continue to circulate and thrive and grow. What did the scripture tell us? You know, do not store up your treasures on earth where the moth consumes and the rust consumes. Moth consumes, I don't know what it was all about. Moths are going to eat your clothes, and rust is going to destroy your. So I do know that scripture. I'm just, do not store up your treasures on earth where moth can chew and rust can consume. Rather, store up your treasures in heaven, because they are protected and will grow and will always be there. For where your heart is, there will your treasures be also. Be content with what you have, and you will always have plenty. So, we are off, and today is Friday, so we'll be starting something new on Monday. And we are going to start with pride, prejudice, populism, and polarization. This is a really important one if you are watching what's going on in our world and you care. Rachel Maddow had someone on TV tonight. It was a man who wrote a book about what we needed for post-pandemic living. It came to pass, not to stay. And when it passes, we've got some changes to make in our lives and the world. Things are not going to go back to as they were. They're going to go back to even better. Why? Because we can make them better. I so hope that you take these things into your heart. You have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend, and I will be back on Monday. So come be with me on Monday night when we will move on. Have a good one.